Where does your favorite NFL team rank after 10 weeks of the NFL season? What's going on, football fans? It's Mitch here, back with another week of my NFL Power Rankings. Ranking every single NFL team from the worst to the best, from number 32 to number 1. And I'm going to keep it real with you in this video. I've gotten a lot of negative comments lately, a lot of haters, a lot of people debating my takes. So I'm going to be ruthless. I do not care. I'm going to cut all the fat out of this video, and I'm going to rip your team. And I'm going to give you the honest truth about what I really feel about your quarterback, about your team, about your coach, and about your fans. So if that sounds good, spike the like button, and don't forget to subscribe for weekly NFL Power Rankings. There are no Power Rankings like these. In-depth analysis and real truth each and every week on the BLV. This is, of course, simply my opinion, and these Power Rankings are more based on how good I feel a team is rather than what their resume is, what their record is. If they're playing next week, Team A versus Team B, who would I pick? Who do I think deserves to be favored in that game? These are more so power ratings than they are power rankings. Go check your standings if you want standings, bro. Let's get going. Let's start it off with the worst team in the NFL. And the worst team in the NFL, in my opinion, right now, on average, week to week, because there's a bunch of teams. The NFL right now, let's just skip right to it. This NFL, and I got to roll up my sleeves for this video, bro. The NFL right now stinks. It's awful. I don't care what Mina Kimes says with this is the best quarterback play we've ever seen. Mina Kimes also said that cover 2 is destroying all NFL offenses, like cover 2 hasn't existed since the 70 Steelers or something. Mina, stop, okay? Quarterbacks suck. Offensive lines suck. It's not because the defenses all of a sudden got better. Defenses aren't even allowed to hold. They're not allowed to hit. Okay? Okay? So, we haven't even gotten to the worst team yet, but quarterbacks suck, defenses suck, O-line suck. Your team sucks, most likely, because the NFL right now, there is no historic level team in the NFL right now. There's no 80s, 90s Cowboys, 2000 Patriots. There's not even an 06 Chargers in this group, guys. So if you think that your team is some incredible team, just get out of here with that BS garbage, bro. This league is trash right now. So I wouldn't be surprised if about 10 teams in the NFL rolled up to the playoffs and won the Super Bowl this year. This season actually reminds me quite a bit of 2021, where I could see about 7 teams winning the Super Bowl, okay? And it might not even be the teams that we expect. So let's get started with the worst team. There are so many bad football teams, I don't even know where to begin. But I have the Las Vegas Raiders at number 32 because on average, I think the Raiders are the worst team in the NFL, right? 1 week, this week, it might be Jacksonville if they're starting Mac Jones because the guy can't throw the ball past 10 yards. The next week, it might be the Cowboys because they're without Dak for the entire year. They're still getting back players on defense. Their O-line is stinky, and Zeke's fumbling the ball in the red zone now. The guy is completely washed. We'll get to the Cowboys soon. It might be the New York Jets in a couple weeks because they just continue to roll down the hill. It might be Caleb Williams if he keeps missing players wide open. But on average, it's the Las Vegas Raiders. Why? Because they have the worst coach who doesn't know what he's doing, and they have probably the worst quarterback-coach combination, no matter which quarterback they're rolling out there, unless they get Kenny Stabler to rise up like The Undertaker. I do not see this team winning very many games moving forward. And they're only 8-point underdogs to the Dolphins. I think they can actually keep that game fairly competitive If they can't, they are done because this is off a bye week. They should be rejuvenated. They should be motivated. That's supposedly why Antonio Pierce has the job, because he's a player's coach who the players love. Max Crosby said to Mark Davis's haircut ass that he should hire this guy. Mark Davis, please do yourself a favor and just ask Tom Brady to literally take over the franchise for us offseason and see how it goes. I've been bringing this point up. This needs to happen. They need to just give the franchise to Tom Brady. Let him pick the coach. Let him scout the team. Let him be the GM for an offseason. Let him draft the players in the first 2 rounds. Let him pick the quarterback. You got to get him to do everything because the Raiders are a disaster. Antonio Pierce, he's taking notes on the sideline in his notebook. He's got his handy-dandy notebook, and he's writing his notes, bro. But I don't know what he's writing about. I don't know what he's writing. What is he writing? I really don't know. If it weren't for Jacoby Myers and Brock Bowers, this is probably the most I've hated the Raiders in years. I like the Raiders. I like cheering for the Raiders. The Raiders being good is good for the NFL. The Raiders suck. They suck. At number 31, the Dallas Cowboys. And I think we need to be honest here and brutal about the Dallas Cowboys. Because everybody wants to sit here and think that the Cowboys' problems are as simple as Dakota, as simple as Jerry, but that's not the fact of the matter. The problem is, it's not Mike McCarthy. This team ran by Jerry Jones, who is so dramatic that they have Dilly Vanilli, shout out to him, the one and only legendary Dilly Vanilli, sent me a Twitter post, a X post, sorry, Elon, of some sort of structure covering the sun from interviews. They had to cover the sun from Mike McCarthy doing an interview. Maybe because he's too overweight, he'll start sweating. I'm not exactly sure. But that is absolutely, unbelievably dramatic. Okay? That is the problem with the Cowboys. They're soft. They're dramatic. They think the world revolves around them. The world doesn't revolve around them. They're like the 3rd best team in their own division, and the Giants didn't have Daniel Jones and employed Daniel Jones, they would be worse than the Giants. And of course, I have them at 31, which is below the New York Giants right now because they've got Cooper Rush at quarterback, who stinks. If you think Mac Jones is bad, this guy's even worse. And then they roll out the guy that got picked in front of Mac Jones, Trey Lance, who's one of the worst quarterbacks I've ever seen. I legitimately have to discuss, is Trey Lance worse than Jamarcus Russell? I think the answer is yes. The O-line is terrible. They're going to get whooped by the Texans. The running backs are awful. This is a poorly constructed football team to make my way around the world back to what I was initially going to say. It's not Dak. It's not Micah Parsons being on a BR podcast. It's not Mike McCarthy. It's Jerry Jones has built a football team that absolutely sucks. They can't run the ball. Their O-line sucks. They can't stop the run. They haven't been able to stop the run for half a decade. Like, when's the last time they've been able to stop the damn run? Dan Quinn or no Dan Quinn? They can't stop the run. They're soft. This is a poorly constructed team. Their linebackers suck. They can't run. Like, are we serious? Like, they've got no receiver 2. They've got no receiver 3. They've got an XFLer at wide receiver 3, bro. What are we talking about here? Like, seriously. We're having to resort to handing the ball off to Ezekiel Elliott in 2024. Come on, man. Like, this team is bad. I don't care. Like, you think Dak's overpaid, all this mumbo-jumbo madness. It's not Dak's fault the team sucks. And then the team sucks, and the coach sucks. So that makes it even worse. At number 30, Jacksonville is the most incompetent sports franchise in my entire life. Period. They have had the same general manager who is so bad at his job. I don't understand how he still has a job. How does this guy still have a job? Does anyone know? Like, literally, I guarantee you, if I compared, and I am no NFL general manager expert, all right? I don't claim to be Bill Belichick here. But I guarantee you, if you took my top 100 players that I scouted over the last 3 or 4 years since I've been doing that, and you took my quarterback rankings, and you took my wide receiver rankings, and you took my edge rusher rankings or whatever, and you compared them to Jacksonville's, I freaking guarantee you that my rankings, as just some hack on YouTube, would be 1,000% better than the Jacksonville Jags. This team sucks. They have no talent. Trevor Lawrence has got beautiful hair. I bet his conditioner is like, beautiful stuff. But the guy is now potentially going to get out of all of this because he's not that good. He is robbing this poor franchise. They had Tony Khan at the NFL draft in a neck brace, pulling a wrestling angle like he's Vince McMahon in the Attitude Era. Like, what are we doing with this team? You've got Gabe Davis on your team. That's all I got to say. You got Gabe Davis on your football team. Your O-line still sucks. Still sucks. Your defense still sucks. You drafted Blake Bortles. I don't know what else I have to say. Like, seriously, this team is terrible. They've been so bad. They've had like 2 good years in my entire life. They suck. At number 29, the New York Giants. What a joke this team is. I can't believe that as a Patriots fan, this franchise is the franchise that beat my Patriots in the Super Bowl not once, but twice. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me, Tom? Are you kidding me, Bill? You lost to this pathetic-ass franchise? This owner that doesn't know what he's doing? I'm sure he's a nice guy, but can he hire someone that's competent? We should have known after the Hard Knocks documentary that this team had absolutely no idea what they were doing. Come on. How is Daniel Jones still employed? Like, seriously, the guy is awful. He single-handedly gave the Panthers a win. They can't stop the run for going on 2 seasons now. It's pathetic. And they've got the best nose tackle since, Vince Wilfork. They can't stop the damn run, bro. I don't know why they traded for Brian Burns. Panthers beat him anyways. They lost to Bryce Young. Seriously? Even Justin Carpenter thinks that's hilarious. Come on, bro. Come on. You got Malik Neighbors on your team. This franchise has had Saquon Barkley and Odell Beckham in their prime, at their peak, and Malik Neighbors. And they still suck. And they blame it all on a pick on a boat. Are we serious? We're still blaming a picture from 8 years ago for the voodoo. That's why we suck, because we took a picture on a boat with our shirts off. Their Kant does that every second Tuesday. Are we serious? So the Giants, they suck. Their quarterback is ass. I want Brian Daboll to get fired because I want him to become the Patriots offensive coordinator. So please fire the Giants coach. Fire everybody. They suck. They're awful. They lost to the Panthers. The Giants were worse than the pretzels that they were given out in Germany, bro. Come on, man. At number 28. Oh, my God. How is it that the Carolina Panthers, a team that at one point during the year, and probably multiple weeks in a row, I came onto this show, exactly this show, every Tuesday night, Power Rankings. And I said, this is the worst team I've ever seen in my life. And they have 3 wins. This team. Does anyone know who even plays on this team? Like, seriously. There are diehard NFL fans that will have no freaking idea who plays in their front 7. Like, not a single iota. This team has absolutely no talent on defense right now. J.C. Horn, maybe. Like, Xavier Woods, the wrestler. Like, seriously. They got Bryce Young out here managing the game, handing it off to, Canada, Mr. Hubbard. 3rd leading rusher in the NFL. Shout out. They still don't have Adam Thielen. I don't know what's going on there. I don't know what's going on with Brooks. Like, the thing with the Panthers is they've been so bad, I feel bad actually ranting about them. I feel bad making fun of them. But yet, they're good enough to be ranked 28th. The Carolina Panthers are the team that if you're worse than the Carolina Panthers, you might as well hang it up. You might as well just, I don't know, bro. Like, you're cooked, okay? So, at number 28, the Carolina Panthers. At number 27, oh my goodness gracious. This team is bad. They are the bad news Bears. Chicago, I got bad news. Caleb Williams might be a bust. He is so bad. There is like a reel on X. I got it right this time, Elon. Caleb just throwing the ball at the ground, like with guys wide open. And I said this in my reaction to week 10. I said, bro, Caleb just missed guys wide open. Like, sure, you can fire Shane Waldron, but is the offensive coordinator now going to fix the fact that Caleb can't freaking throw the ball to a wide open player? Imagine if you switched the quarterbacks in that game, Patriots and Bears. Wow. Imagine being the Bears right now, watching Drake May and Jaden Daniels and even Bo Nix. You have to wonder. You have to wonder about how they've built this football team. Their O-line is doo-doo. They play in Chicago, and they have no O-line. Their defense is decimated on the D-line. They got no O-line, no D-line. How did they win their one Super Bowl they won? How did they get to the one Super Bowl that they lost? O-line and D-line. Defense and offensive line. Like, do we just lose? This is my problem with a lot of teams right now. And it's a problem with society, bro. We don't appreciate the past. We don't appreciate our predecessors, bro. We don't appreciate history. And it's actually a good usage of your time to understand as an NFL team, the teams from your location who have been successful. Why? Because the climate hasn't really changed that much, Leo. So if you've got the offensive line and the defense in Chicago, that's going to be a formula for success. But what do? We go out and we trade for fat Keenan Allen. We draft slow Rome Odunze. And we extend DJ Moore. And we sign DeAndre Swift for some reason. And we love linebackers. But we've got no D-line. We got no O-line. And we've got a quarterback who is a drama queen, who can't make a throw, and we've got the worst offensive coordinator known to human history. I mean, Shane Waldron is awful. Thankfully, he was fired. I don't know what these, like, O-line, they were, like, trying to move the pocket. I was like, what are you doing? They got sacked 9 times against the New England Patriots. I will literally give a cookie to any human in the chat, in the comment section, other than Patriots fans. If you're a Patriots fan, you're disqualified. Any non-Patriots fan, you have to do it. I don't know how we can check this because you're going to be able to look it up, but you can't look it up. Can anyone in the chat anyone in the comments, please name a pass rusher on the Patriots not named Keon White. Please, in the comments. Anybody. They got 9 sacks on you. A team that people don't even know who's on their D-line. 9 sacks. And Caleb's half responsible. He's holding the ball like he's cooking a meal back there. What is he doing? Get rid of the ball. They couldn't even run the ball on the Patriots. I just saw Tony Pollard and the Titans run the ball for an entire drive straight down the Patriots' throat in overtime. They couldn't run the ball. The Bears suck. At number 26, the New Orleans Saints. You beat the Falcons. It's not that impressive, to be honest, but I'll give you credit for it. You beat the Falcons despite getting totally outgained, pretty much totally outplayed. But your coach clogged the toilet, and he also clogged the points for the Atlanta Falcons. So, congratulations to the Saints. There's actually not a lot of Saint slander here. Other than the fact that I don't know why they ever signed Derek Carr. I told you not to sign him. Then, you've got the worst salary cap in the history of the NFL. So you guys are literally, you've been cooked for 5 years. You are beyond cooked. Okay? You are done. You're not going anywhere for years. I'm sorry, Jamari. You're just not doing it. And you got a bunch of old men on your defense. The 2 receivers that I actually enjoy watching are hurt. You got Marquez Valdez-Scantling playing the game of his life out there. So, Saints get a win, but they still are absolute ass. Next up, at number 25, the Tennessee Titans. I feel bad for the Titans, mostly because, they probably have a good roster, but their coach and their quarterback are so awful that I really it just completely evaporates the rest of the team. And this is where I completely missed on the Tennessee Titans. They have a good roster. And actually, they've gotten rid of some of the players since the beginning of the year, like Ernest Jones, for example. But Will Levis is horrible. Horrible. The Mayo Man. Should have known by that nickname alone. And the coach, I don't even think he's an offensive coordinator. Is he even good enough really to be an offensive coordinator? Should he truly have been a head coach? We got to ask ourselves a question here. When he was hired, I was like, what? I remember just sitting there being like, that's interesting. Seriously. That's what I said to myself. Because I never sat there in Cincinnati and I was like, wow, the Bengals have one of the coolest offenses I've ever seen. You've got much more experienced, brilliant coaches. You got a guy like Brian Flores that you could have hired. And you hire Callahan? First of all, you should have never fired Mike Vrabel. If anything, Mike Vrabel was the only reason you were winning as many games as you were winning. It made no sense when you guys won games. He was basically the white version of Mike Tomlin. Seriously. The man had the underdog voodoo magic. And you just got rid of him. But because the quarterback and the coach are so awful, this team sucks. And honestly, this team sucks so bad, nobody even cares about them. Nobody even cares about Tennessee. People care more about Jacksonville than the Titans. I never hear the Titans even be discussed. They're a shit show. At number 24, the New York Jets. Oh boy. I have to admit, because I actually did think the Jets were going to be pretty good this year. I was wrong. I'll have to admit that was one of my worst takes. And I still honestly don't know why they suck. I don't understand. Like, I watch Rodgers and I don't think he's washed. I don't think he's great, but he's kind of what I expected, to be honest. They added Davante Adams. I wasn't sure they were going to do that. And Davante Adams is still pretty good. He's not washed. He's not Davante Adams. Let's get that straight. But he's not washed. Garrett Wilson's really good. Breece Hall's really good. Allen is pretty interesting as a rookie running back. They've got complementary players. Like Allen Lazard has been really good for them. I know he hasn't really played lately. The O-line, I guess, has been worse than expected, given that they did make some moves for some vets like Moses and Tyron Smith, and they've been underwhelming. But it's been a better O-line than Zach Wilson had. It's been a better O-line than Sam Darnold had. And yet the Jets still can't move the ball and score points. The defense still has lots of individual talent, from CJ Mosley to Quincy Williams to Sauce Gardner and DJ Reed, Quinnen Williams. Will McDonald's been great, but they can't come together as a team. And I think my concern for the team was coaching, and that's why I thought it could go downhill. And I think, honestly, the coaching is even worse than I would have ever imagined. The offense, I don't think it's actually coached. I think that Aaron Rodgers just calls the plays by himself and runs the offense by himself. And I don't know where Aaron Rodgers got this idea that an offense can be good based on running the ball, throwing fades, and throwing slants, and throwing the ball about 50 times a game when you're 40 years old as a quarterback that can't move. You're not Tom Brady. I know that Aaron Rodgers wants to prove that he went to this new team in the opposite conference, so the superior conference, right? He wants to prove that he can do what Tom Brady did, but he can't. He's not Tom Brady. He's never been Tom Brady. He's just an egomaniac jabroni. I'll enjoy you when you go back to Joe Rogan, Mr. Aaron Rodgers, but you are cooked. Your team doesn't have direction. It doesn't have leadership. They don't have effort. They suck. You know you're bad when you're worse than the New England Patriots at number 23. The league is so bad that I legitimately can sit here at my beautiful desk and say the New England Patriots might actually be the 23rd best team in the NFL. That is how bad the NFL is. That is how many teams that absolutely suck there are in the NFL. The Patriots, with not a single offensive lineman that anybody knows. I literally think they just make them up from week to week. I think they're AI. A Patriots team that employs a wide receiver named Booty and still tries to force KJ Osborne down our throats. Yes, Drake May is good. We know this. May is a maniac, and I love it. But this team sucks. Okay, let's be fair. And I got to sit here as a Patriots fan and see my entire Patriots fan base embarrass themselves. By saying that they think the Patriots can go on some sort of win streak. I'm going to calm us all down. Yes, I put us at 23 on the power rankings. We beat the Bears because the Bears are really freaking bad. And you know what's something I noticed? I listened to a lot of Patriot media. Nobody wanted to talk about how bad Caleb Williams is. Did anyone, bro, Caleb Williams, I know he's on the Bears. This is the Patriots. Can we just talk about how bad he is? So the fact that we won the game is because their rookie quarterback is absolutely awful. and ours is good. Like, that's why we won. Let's be honest. Like, seriously. We're not going to beat the Rams. If we beat the Rams, I'll run around my house naked. Like, we're not going to do it, okay? We're going to lose to the Rams. And the defense on New England, I don't know where that came from. Again, I just think the Bears are that bad. I really don't think the Patriots are that good. Like, seriously. So, calm down, Patriots fans. Patriots Nation. Calm down. We are not good. Let's enjoy the games. We still suck. We just played an incompetent team with a terrible quarterback and an incompetent offensive coordinator. Okay? Let's see how the rest of the season goes. We know we got a quarterback. We know we got some pieces. Christian Gonzalez, maybe an all-pro this year, but let's just calm down. All right? We're not going anywhere. Next up, at number 22, we've got Joe Flacco and the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts are the first team on my power rankings where I feel like they have a semblance of competency. Like, I still think Shane Steichen is a good play caller, and I think that Flacco is better than most of the quarterbacks I've already talked about outside of maybe Drake May and maybe Aaron Rodgers. Maybe. The O-line is hurt, but they still have been overcoming that and running the ball pretty well. Their wide receivers are really talented. Mitchell had a nice game. That's promising for the future. Alec Pierce continues to make big plays. I thought he played well against Buffalo. And the defense, I actually think, has been a lot better since the return of DeForest Buckner. Their D-line's getting after it. I wouldn't be shocked if the Colts beat the Jets this week. I'm not exactly sure why. I have them ranked higher than the Jets in my power rankings by 2 spots. I'm not sure why they're 4-point underdogs despite being on the road. Maybe it's injuries to the offensive line, but I'm not exactly sure why, considering the Jets suck. Like, the Colts, at least, they're competitive. Okay, that's the word. They're not good. They're not a playoff team. They might be second in their division because their division is that bad. But they're competitive. They're the Colts. At number 21, the Cleveland Browns. I love this team. I love Jameis Winston. See, this is how you are a bad team. This is how you should be a bad team. You employ a fun, loving quarterback like Jameis Winston who cuts the greatest, literally the greatest pre-game interviews I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, I am an honorary Browns fan for the rest of the season. Jameis Winston, I love you. David Njoku, I love you. Nick Chubb, please get back to Nick Chubbing, okay? No ultra, you sick freak. That's not what I'm talking about, okay? The offensive line of the Browns has been up and down and all around. They are healthier now, and they're coming off a bye week. I actually think the Browns, like, being legit serious, I think the Browns should beat the shit out of the Saints this week. The defense is still very talented. I still think this is a well-coached team. I just think that their general manager and their front office has messed up quarterbacks so bad that they are just not going to be good in this division for a while. And that sucks because they have a lot of really good and talented players, and I like this team. But at least we could cheer for Jameis. So at number 21, we got the Browns coming off the bye. At number 20, we got the Seattle Seahawks. And I really contemplated putting this team below the Browns. I'm not even going to lie. But the Seahawks are that type of stupid. Like, they're just a stupid team. I've used the word bad a lot. They're stupid. Seattle is stupid. I told you your O-line sucks. Are you guys going to address this O-line? Like, you guys play the dumbest style of football I've ever seen. Geno Smith just, like, that Rams game drove me berserk. It was driving me nuts. They just dropped back and threw the ball like 50 yards every play. It's like, what is this? What am I watching? Like, Geno Smith is just launching the ball. And this team is stupid because they've got so many good individual players. Like, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett is still sweet. Jackson Smith and Jigba, Kenneth Walker. Like, Noah Fant's hurt right now, but Noah Fant's talented. Cross, their left tackle, is good. Geno is pretty good, in my opinion. I know that Seahawks fans like hate him and they want to shit on him and stuff, but Geno's pretty good. He has no protection, like, at all. At all. Like, the O-line is terrible. They can't even snap the ball. Like, they need to fix that. The defense, I think, has been really underwhelming under Mike Macdonald. I'm not sure what's going on with him. Maybe he's not quite found the pieces fully to run this defense. But, I mean, you talk about the defense like Witherspoon, Reek Woolen, Julian Love. They added Ernest Jones, Leonard Williams, Byron Murphy. I mean, the list goes on. They've got dudes, Roy Robertson Harris. Like, they got a lot of individual guys. And now off this bye week, I'll be interested to see how they play against the Niners, because I think their defense might be able to play a bit better than they did the first time around, even despite McCaffrey coming back and all that, and Ricky Pearsall being there. But because I was at that first game, and the Niners did whatever they kind of wanted. They kind of dominated that game, you know. This second game, I expect their defense to play harder and better. I think they've got better personnel this time around. The offense I'm concerned about against the Niners. They can never seem to block them. Like, they just don't have a good plan. So, at number 20, they're just a stupid team. I just say this team is just so frustrating. I would hate to be a Seahawks fan. At number 19, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I love the Bucs, man. I haven't said that in a minute. I love the Bucs. I've loved the Bucs for ever since Brady got there, even before Brady got there, to be honest with Jameis. And, you know, the Bucs are a lot of fun. I think they've actually got a schedule that will make this really interesting. The Falcons have a really tough schedule down the stretch. The Bucs got a really easy schedule down the stretch. I think their toughest game is like the Chargers on the road. Otherwise, they play the Saints twice. They play the Panthers twice, I believe. They play some pretty easy teams like the Raiders, the Giants. They should pick up a ton of wins down the stretch. I think Baker has been the most underrated quarterback in the NFL for 2 years now. The O-line has been a revelation this year. I think Liam Cohen has been the best coordinator that nobody talks about. I think that he is a guy that if I was the Patriots, I would definitely look to hire him. Because I still don't think Gerard Mayo is the guy. That's a side point on the Patriots. I don't think Mayo is the guy. But Liam Cohen's been amazing. I love their players, man. I just love Mike Evans. I literally cried when Chris Godwin got hurt. I love their running backs. Bucky Irving is a sweet player. Cade Otton has really come into his own since seeing him as a rookie with Tom Brady. Sterling Shepard is balling. Sterling Shepard, bro. Levante David still playing hard. Vita Vea. Their defense, though, I mean, I like Todd Bowles, but, bro, you got to get... Bro, I'm crying right now. I just thought of Chris Godwin getting hurt. I'm literally crying in this video, bro. Every time I think of Chris Godwin getting hurt, I literally start crying. Bro, this is crazy. I'm crying about Chris Godwin live on a video. It still hurts me, okay? It still hurts me. The defense, like... Todd Bowles, bro. Like, come on. Can you figure out your defense? Like, your run defense against the Niners was pretty good, actually. But you still can't cover anybody. Like, can you cover something, like anything at all? How do you have Antoine Winfield and you can't cover anything? Like, seriously, bro? Can we get some help? Can we get some help? They shouldn't have been that close, but Baker kind of willed them into that game. That game was not close. They got outgained by like 200 yards. Like, this is a good time for a bye week. Hopefully Tristan Wirfs comes back. Tristan Wirfs a great player. At number 18, the Rams. The Rams were so disappointing on Monday Night Football. Holy smokes. I can't remember like a more disappointing performance from a team in a primetime spot in a while. Like, that was a complete letdown of what I expected. Now, I picked Miami, so ultimately I was right. I was just so discouraged by the Rams. And most importantly, man, Mick Cabot is back. I mean, Sean McVay, Last year was one of the best years of your career. This year, you have legitimately sucked. I'm not going to lie. Like, Sean McVay this year, is he even a top 10 coach in the NFL this year? I don't think so. Like, his play calling is mid as fuck. Like, his timeouts, I don't think there's a coach that is worse with timeouts and clock management than Sean McVay. It's a travesty watching this guy call a timeout. Like, it is a travesty. I don't know how many field goals. He's obsessed with field goals. I think he needs to get some time away with that beautiful wife of his. Go back to Cabo, hit the lab, like find a new haircut or something. Like, McVay, you need to do something different. You need to come back rejuvenated because this year you have been ass. Like, I don't care. You can say Cooper Kupp's been hurt, Puka Nacua. Yeah, had them against Miami. You sucked. Your O-line couldn't block. Stafford was under duress constantly. And then Stafford didn't play well. Stafford, I think I might actually have to say DeCamp might have been right about like one thing out of like 1,000 things that he said this year. Because he's been wrong about a lot of things. Bills 8 and 9. Terry McLaurin sucking. Chris Godwin sucking. His wide receiver rankings were shit. But he was right. Stafford, probably not a top 10 quarterback right now the way he's playing. I got to give him credit. The Rams D-line is actually sick. Like, if you would have told me that the Rams defense had played this well, but they're still not a good team, I'd be extremely confused. So I have them at 18. That's just respect. And that's also talent. Like, they've got some talent. They might be good in a couple years, but it depends on how much longer Stafford's going to play. Might break them in half with this O-line. At number 17, the Broncos. I got the Broncos at 17. I feel bad for the Broncos. They should have beat the Chiefs. They should have been the first team to beat the Chiefs this year. That was absolutely brutal. Sean Payton played that perfectly, and I got to give a shout out to Sean Payton. I always knew Sean Payton was a dog. And, Saints fans slandered him. The NFL has slandered him. People have slandered him. But Sean Payton is a dog, bro. It doesn't matter what era it is. It doesn't matter if Drew Brees is his quarterback. He's a great coach. I don't care. Sean Payton is the reason the Broncos are where the Broncos are at. Their defense, overachieving. Shout out to Zach Allen. Shout out to Nick Bonito, who played amazing against the Chiefs. I got to say, I thought that was Bo Nix's best game of his entire career so far. Cortland Sutton toasted McDuffie like no one I've ever seen. And Audric Estime apparently is now their starting running back. I think the Broncos will be right there with the Bengals for that last spot in the AFC. We'll see if they make it happen, man. I kind of been hating on them. And the reason is, I just don't think if they get to the playoffs, they'll actually be competitive. And this is nothing against the Broncos. I don't care about the Broncos, okay? It's the fact that I just don't think they're there yet. I just think they're a team that's overachieving. I give them their credit, but at the same time, I want to see the best matchups in the playoffs possible. And I just don't think the Broncos bring that to the table. At number 16, the Atlanta Falcons. Falcons are frauds. Like, let's be honest. I love Kirk Cousins. You like that? The dad of the NFL. But this is a one-sided football team. Bijan Robinson, where are the haters at now? I mean, 20 points in fantasy, 25, 27, 28, 20, 25 in a row. O-line is solid. Mooney, I told you he was good at football. Like, I told you Darnell Mooney was good. People wanted to say Darnell Mooney wasn't good because Justin Fields was throwing him the ball. What a bunch of jamokes. Drake London is also good. And the defense sucks. Like, there's no way around it. They suck. They still can't rush the quarterback. You can't get a sack on Derek Carr. You got a problem, bro. You got a problem. Seek some help. At number 15, the Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins. I don't even know if I could. What was the song? To a time. It's to a time. I need to get that one on here now. I always go with Miami Dolphins. But they played on Monday Night Football. They played the To a Time song. I got to get that, bro. First of all, Tua sucks. He's terrible. I've never seen a quarterback want to literally hurt himself on a field more than Tua Tagovailoa. I have never seen it. This guy literally runs into people. He throws a pick. He tries to tackle the guy head first like an absolute idiot. What is his IQ? This guy has the same amount of CTE as Le'Veon Bell and AB. But maybe not AB. That might be going a little far. But Le'Veon Bell. Tyreek Hill, where are you at? You're going to blame your wrist injury on a cop? Come on, bro. I know it wasn't cool what happened there, but it's a little suspect. Jalen Waddle is soft as shit. Holy smokes. I have never seen a softer wide receiver in my lifetime, okay? The O-line, they're decent. A-Shane, fast as fuck. Mostert, he's washed. He is washed. Jonnu Smith, a dog. We knew this. Dog. Defense, talk about a dog. Calais Campbell. This guy's approximately 58 years old, and he's still running down quarterbacks. And he sacks the quarterback. What? Jalen Ramsey is the best linebacker in the league. Yeah, I said linebacker. Javon Holland, best Canadian in the league. I actually kind of like the Dolphins. I like the Dolphins this year when they're not actually overrated. Because the Dolphins aren't overrated. And I think people have realized that Tua sucks. So it's good. I like it. At number 14, Chargers. Jim Harbaugh has his Chargers really charging and bolting up. And we're going to see this week. They're going to play a legitimate test, a legitimate quarterback, something that I don't think they played the entire season. That includes you, Patrick Mahomes. But the Chargers have what we think is a good defense, what we think is a good pass rush, what we think is an ascending offense. And I will say, the Chargers are becoming more of an offensive, explosive, passing football team with Justin Herbert now. Palmer, McConkey, Johnston, Will Dissly. They're throwing it. They're moving it down the field. We'll see how that goes against the Bengals. That will be a great game. Herbert is playing MVP ball, in my opinion. He leads the NFL in big-time throw percentage and interception percentage. He's back in that top 5 quarterback conversation. Nice to see you back there, Mr. Justin Herbert. At number 13, speaking of Joe Burrow, the Bengals are still at 13 on my list. And there's going to be at least one person that comments, Mitch, the Bengals are 4-6, and you got them at 13, above the 6-win Chargers. First of all, the spread is 1, and the Chargers are at home, okay? Second of all, the Bengals are good. They just keep losing to good teams. And they lose, I don't even know how they lose. How did they lose to the Ravens? How? Twice. They should have beat the Ravens. Not once, twice. They should have beat the Chiefs. How many times have they lost to good teams this year? And you're like, they should have won that game. And that's why I want the Bengals in the playoffs. Because every single game they play is right down to the wire. It's fun. Jamar Chase is an absolute freak. Best receiver in the league right now. Joe Burrow is top 3 quarterback without a doubt. He's a baller right now. Chase Brown is a stud despite that fumble. Defense, I actually am looking forward to see them play the Chargers. I think they can play well against the Chargers, but we'll see how it goes. Yeah, their defense is annoying. Yeah, Zach Taylor is a fraud. But the Bengals are just, there's something about this team, man. They're going to get T. Higgins back. They can beat literally anybody on any week. It's why I like the Bengals. I know that this year they haven't exactly done that. They've lost to everybody. But it's been games where they should have won. So, yeah. At number 12, the Arizona Cardinals. Cardinals continue to impress me. They continue to move up my power rankings. I considered them for number 11, number 10. Kyler Murray, top 8 quarterback right now in the NFL. Shove it. O-line, running the ball. James Conner. DeMarcado. The rookie, also, whose name is slipping my mind. Benson. Marvin Harrison with an effortless, nice touchdown against the Jets. Trey McBride, top 2 or 3 tight end in football. The defense, I mean, I'm sorry, Jonathan Gannon. I might have been wrong about your pew-pew-pewing. Your defense might have a little pew-pew to it, potentially. I mean, you guys are playing a lot better than your talent. You're always funky. You're always fresh. You're always bringing the heat with your blitzes, and you're playing feisty football. So Cardinals have been really impressive the last 2 weeks. Now, I will say the Bears are terrible. The Jets are terrible. But the last 2 games have been nice for you. At number 11, the Minnesota Vikings. I moved the Vikings out of the top 10 simply because of Sam Darnold. They actually low-key dominated the Jacksonville Jags. They had 28 first downs and 40 minutes of possession. 28! 40! But Sam Darnold just kept throwing the ball to the other team every time he crossed the 25-yard line. Like, what are you doing? So, with the Vikings, I think their defense gives up too many yards to good offenses. I think their O-line is a little shaky without Darisaw. And I think Darnold is a turnover waiting to happen. I like the coaches. I love Jefferson. Aaron Jones got beat up in that game. He should be okay. Addison and Hawkinson, 2 of the best complementary receivers in football. And there's enough on the defense at their high end to be excited about this team as a contender. But because they employ Sam Darnold, I think they're kind of frauds. Not frauds. That's not the right word. They're kind of pretenders. They're not going to win the Super Bowl. That being said, Sarah, they have overachieved. They have exceeded expectations. Shout out to their coaches. Shout out to their players. But just because you exceed expectations doesn't mean I'm going to sit here and say you're not pretenders. Okay? So the Vikings are that team where I feel like if you can beat the Vikings or you just appear to be better than them on a consistent basis, you're probably a contender. But if you're around the Vikings area or a little bit below, you're probably a pretender. That's how I see it. At number 10, sort of interchangeable with the Vikings, the Commies. Yes, sir. The Commanders. The Commandos. Why am I saying it like this? Because you lost to Mr. Unlimited. You wanted to get unlimited, and you lost to Mr. Unlimited. He shoved it right up your candy ass, bro. The Commanders at home couldn't beat the Steelers. We knew it. We told you it was going to happen, and it happened. There's not going to be Commanders fans in my comments this week. I wonder why. But hey, Commanders are a playoff team. We'll see what they have on Thursday night for real. They play the Eagles. It's a tough game. They should lose, but we'll see how it goes. They got a chance. Terry McLaurin may be playing the best ball of his career. Jaden Daniels is the rookie of the year still. I thought he had one of his worst games against the Steelers. Not too surprisingly. They need Brian Robinson back desperately. He really helps their run game. And And their defense is still playing a little bit better than I gave it credit for before the year. I think because they've got some really talented scheme-specific players in their front seven that really help Dan Quinn with what he wants to do, like Dante Fowler, like Daron Payne, like Bobby Wagner, like Frankie Louvu. These guys really fit what he wants to do. I think Lattimore will really help them. Jeremy Chinn's playing unbelievable. I think the Commanders are one of those teams that they feel like a playoff team, but I can't see them winning more than one playoff game. That's kind of how I feel about them. At number 9, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Shout out Bodo. Okay, so I want to be positive about Pittsburgh, but every single video I get on my channel where I talk about the Steelers, I pick the Steelers in how many videos? How many best bets? I explain they have voodoo magic. They're great as underdogs. They have a good defense. TJ Watt. And then I get just shit from every Steelers fan every week. Well, Mitch, why don't you think we're a contender? Mitch, why are you not putting us in the top 3 in the NFL? We would beat the Chiefs. Some of you guys need to get your head examined. You need to get a vision test. Like, seriously, bro. You think this Steelers team is going to win the AFC? You think this Steelers team is better than the Bills and the Chiefs? Like, I'm sorry. I think you're the 9th best team in the league. You're not winning shit. Okay? That's what I'm trying to tell you. I think you're good, but you're not great. Why? You've played nobody. You beat nobody. Now you're going to play some teams. We'll see how you do. But the Ravens are a team that I actually think you could beat them because you always beat them once. So you should beat them. The defense is good in Pittsburgh. The run game is good in Pittsburgh. The Steelers are literally what I thought they would be. Literally. I made a video before the year. I talked about it. Maybe that's why so many of you are upset at me, because I literally called it. And yet, you don't understand why I'm kind of going back and saying this and that. Okay, in that Steeler video, I didn't say you guys were going to win the Super Bowl. Okay, and this is where we get separated. Like, so there's one thing where, you could beat the Ravens maybe in week 11. Are you going to beat the Ravens in the AFC title game? Probably not. I'm not going to pick you to win that game. I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying? George Pickens is a dog. I like Jalen Warren. Russ is a great story. Is he a great quarterback? No. He just throws the ball into the air, 50 yards in the air, and it just lands in Mike Williams' lap. Jeez. All right, at number 8, the Green Bay Packers. I got a few Packers fans out there. Shout out to you guys. They're a confusing team. I don't know what to think about this team right now, because before the year, I was very high on the Packers. I thought they could win the NFC. I thought they could go to the Super Bowl. I think I predicted them to go to the NFC Championship, if I'm not mistaken. But they don't feel that way to me right now. Jordan Love has been underperforming and honestly maybe the second best quarterback on his team. Their passing game in general is inconsistent, explosive, inconsistent. Run game is good. O-line is good. Not phenomenal, not dominant, but good. The defense, mediocre, I would say. They've had good moments. Their pass rush underwhelming. Their CB2, CB3 underwhelming. Coaching's good. LaFleur is really good. And that's why I still have faith in this team. But the Packers are weird. I could see them in one corner winning the NFC and in the other missing the playoffs completely. So they haven't beaten anyone yet. If you want to play that card. And this was a team that won 9 games last year in the regular season. So they might be on course for that again this year. At number 7, the Texans. And this is a ranking that I think will get some criticism because they're 6-4. But with the Texans, I'm more so looking at this from, I know they're going to beat the Cowboys this week. They should hammer the Cowboys. But I'm looking at this from a long-term perspective on top of the Detroit Lions game being a game that I was actually really impressed by their defense. The Lions have one of the best offenses in the NFL, and I thought the Texans, without arguably their best player, played the Lions as well as any team I've seen in like the last year and a half. So I got to give the Texans defense a ton of credit. D'Amico a ton of credit. I think their defense, when they get Christian Harris, Jimmy Ward, Will Anderson, all their pieces in there, Mario Edwards, will be really tough to beat. I think they're going to be elite on defense. Their pass rush is awesome. Their offense has an offensive line issue, but that could be partly negated by Nico Collins because Nico Collins is that freaking good. If you don't think Nico Collins is at least a top 5 receiver in football, you have smoked too many things. Stroud will bounce back, I think, with Nico there. And with Joe Mixon and Tank Dell, I think they have enough offensively with an elite defense to be as big of a contender in the AFC as anybody. Because they've got a similar level of offense to the Chiefs. Inconsistently good, I would call it. The Ravens have a dominant offense, but a bad defense. The Bills got, I would say, a very good offense and a good defense. The Bills are probably the most complete team in the AFC. But by the end of the year, would it be shocking if the Chiefs or the Texans were that? No. And I would throw the Texans in that category. At number 6, the 49ers. This is a team that people continuously don't understand why they're so high. Mitch, you're biased. Kyle Shanahan, blah, 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 blah. Okay, cool. That's all I'm going to say. Okay, cool. Now, I say it every week, and I explain it every week, but yet people don't listen. Why do I have the Niners at 6? First of all, they're always better in the second half of the season than they are in the first. Check their 2021-2022 records. Thank you. Next, they've got arguably the best coach in the sport, or at least second best, okay? Next, they have a bunch of awesome football players, including, in my opinion, maybe the best player that exists, Christian McCaffrey, who has returned. Fred Warner might be the best defensive player in the world. Nick Bosa is really good, especially when Trump is president. They've got really good corners. They drafted a sick draft class this year. Dominic Pooney, Green, Mustafa, Pearsall looks like a dude. Debo is still on the team. Kittle is still arguably the best tight end in the sport. Trent Williams is arguably the best left tackle. They've got so much talent. And they are actually legitimately, in most advanced metrics, a top 3 offense and a top 5 defense. Their special teams is awful. It's like the worst in the league, maybe besides the Titans. It's historically bad. If they can tweak that a little bit, kind of like the 2021 team did, because they also had a really bad special teams, they can be a dark horse team that wins the Super Bowl. It wouldn't be shocking at all. Especially if they avoid the Chiefs. It wouldn't be that shocking because Purdy is a gamer and he can make plays in big moments. And they can outcoach any team in the league in a one-game setting. We've seen Kyle as an excellent playoff coach. So, the Niners, they're awesome. I just think they've lost some games that people look at their record and they're like, oh, they're only 5-4. They lost 2 games that were like 2 of the flukiest losses of the entire year. And every loss you can look at and say that, well, they didn't have a bunch of players playing in the game, or like their kicker got hurt in the middle of the game, which caused them to lose, or this and that. Like, even against the Bucs, they won the game, but they outgained the Bucs by 200 yards and they missed 3 field goals. Like, how often does that happen? And then they still won. So that's why they're at number 6. At number 5, the Baltimore Ravens have the best offense in the league right now. Lamar Jackson is playing like the MVP at this moment. He is playing the best ball of his career. But here's the thing. I've said for years Lamar was this good. It just so happens that he has a better running back. He's got a better offensive coordinator. He's got better receivers. He's got all the pieces to thrive. And he's doing that, and he's taking advantage of that. And all these Ravens fans want to get up on their high horse. All these Ravens fans want to get their panties in a bunch like a bunch of drama queens. And they want to say, Mitch, you're an idiot. Lamar's the best quarterback. Here's my thing about Lamar. You want me to be honest? You can't handle the truth about Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson, this guy right here, was my guy before he was your guy, okay? I said Lamar Jackson needed to be the quarterback the Patriots picked in the 2018 draft to replace Tom Brady. You know how good you have to be for me to say that? You know how much I have to like you for me to say that? Second of all, I was the one who ranked Lamar Jackson first in his draft class. Not you, me. Well, him and Josh Allen were basically tied. But, okay, this guy right here, this has been my guy. And you know why I hate on this guy and I hate on the Ravens? Because you tore my heart out. You tore my heart out, Lamar, when you lost to the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC Championship. I've been holding this back for a year. I am sick of the Ravens. I'm done with the Ravens. Until the Ravens win a fucking playoff game that actually matters and Lamar actually plays well in a playoff game, I am done. I will not cheer for the Baltimore Ravens until that takes place. That is exactly why I rip the Ravens. So you want to know, Mitch, you're biased, Mitch this, Mitch that. You're an idiot. You hate Lamar. You're a Lamar hater. Just admit it. I get these comments every fucking video, and I'm sick. Every video. And the reason I say it, the reason I hate, is because you broke my heart. Lamar, stand. Okay. At number 4, the Philadelphia Eagles. Fly, Eagles, fly on our way to victory, which is what I think they'll do on Thursday Night Football over Jaden Daniels and the Commies. And Big Al will be chanting the fight song live on the Bottom Line View. We might even get Big Al on the live stream. We're going to figure something out. Big Al, shout out to him, the legend, the man, the myth, the BLV GOAT, Big Al. Shout out to Big Al. Man, the Eagles are good. Now, my problem is that Eagles fans still think Jalen Hurts is good. That's my problem. Like, Jalen Hurts is not good. I'm sorry. Like, he can't see. Half the time I watch him play, I think he's legally blind. If it were not for A.J. Brown being a literal dinosaur, I think that he would just suck. Saquon Barkley is an animal. Honestly, this is like one of the best storylines of the season, in my opinion. Saquon is back. Like, people don't talk about this enough. Like, Saquon is back. Okay? The defense for the Eagles might also be back. We'll see how they play against the Commanders. It's the toughest test they've had probably all year since week 1. So, yeah, that's a big thing. But we'll learn a lot about the Eagles this week. I don't have too much to say other than I think they're a complete team. Their quarterback is a little overrated, but he's carried by an excellent offensive line and excellent skill players. And this is Saquon's offense. Saquon's, not Jalen's. Okay? We're not fuzzy, are we? No, I think we still look beautiful. All right, let's get number 3. The Buffalo Bills. I'm not going to say anything about the Bills this week. All I'm going to say is please win. Josh, I ranked you number 1 in the quarterback rankings. Please win. You know what you got to do. Do it. Do it. At number 2, the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't have them number 1 just because they're undefeated. Bunch of pansies. You just want to rank Chiefs number 1 just because they're undefeated. But what they do. How do you win a game by blocking a 35-yard field goal? Not even Mike Tomlin could do that. I don't know how that's possible. I think the Chiefs are going to lose this week. They better, at least. I don't know how this team's undefeated. They are not as good as their record. Their defense is outstanding. Their special teams is outstanding. Mahomes is still a little bit hit and miss. The run game has kind of gotten a little worse lately. They are going to be activating Isaiah Pacheco. I don't think he'll play this week, but maybe next week. The Chiefs got to lose at some point. They're just not good enough to be undefeated. They're just not. It's comical. It honestly is hilarious. At number 1, the Lions. I give the Lions credit, and I discussed this in the reaction to week 10. I just think the Lions have been most impressive this year in terms of margin of victory, dominance of victory, and then also versatility of victory, where they're winning through running, throwing, they're winning through defense, offense, they're winning through special teams, they're winning through comeback, they're winning through sustained lead, they're winning through overtime, they're winning in so many different ways. And yeah, they've had flawed performances against Tampa and flawed performances against Houston, and they won and lost, but I just think they've been the most impressive overall championship quality team. I do think Aiden Hutchinson has really hurt them, though, on defense. I think their secondary is playing great, though. I got to give their secondary a ton of credit, especially Carlton Davis, who had a great game against Houston. I thought he was one of the best players in week number 10. Brian Branch is sick. And Jack Campbell, my guy, Jack Campbell, thank you for proving me right, Jack Campbell. I thought you might have proved me wrong after year 1, but you might be a dude like I said you would be. And I got that one right, as well as Jahmyr Gibbs. 2 of my guys, the Lions the Lions just stole my draft board now that I think about it. I like Jameson Williams, I like Jahmyr Gibbs, and I like Jack Campbell. I think they just stole my draft board. Which one of you Lions fans is giving away my stuff, bro? Come on, man. All right, thank you guys for watching. It's Mitch. Gronk, spike the like button, and don't forget to subscribe. Hopefully you enjoyed this Power Rankings. This one was a lot of fun. Peace, guys.